guys, this is Place, and let me adjust this a little. Um, I just decided to randomly do this tutorial because I thought it would be a fun idea for you all who have a computer and you have been watching Undertale animations. Maybe at one point you felt the desire to do one, but then you realize that it's too complicated. Well, hate to break it to you, but it is. And I'm not here to teach you how to do an animation today because that would take way too long. But you might have noticed the animation test videos that I've uploaded recently to my channel. I'm practicing to use Wondershell Filmora 9 and PowerPoint in order to do quality prospering animations, if that's how you want to call it. And well, I've been practicing a little to improve my overall hub on PowerPoint, and I think that I've gotten something acceptable. So today I'm here to teach you how to make an Undertale battle menu in PowerPoint, because here's the thing, once you get the first slide completed, then, well, the rest will be simple since you can just right click and then duplicate slides. And then you can just change whatever you want in the next slide. But yeah, the first slide is the most important, and it will take a lot of designing. Like, I didn't make it look this way on my first try, and there'll be a lot of work. And today I'm gonna show you how to make it, apart from the text that might be in a separate video. If you do wish me to continue this tutorial series, then you know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And let's begin. So, you might be thinking that I only used images over here, and while that is partially correct, this is text right over here and here. Oh, not these two, these are images. And these are also, and this is also text boxes. It's separate letters that I can animate the text moving frame by frame. Now, you're gonna need some special fonts for this. And once this video gets uploaded, which will be in a very long time, the fonts are gonna be down below in the description, as well as some resources that you might want to use. But most of the things are already accessible to us. So, in order for us to get started, I'm just gonna click on the File tab, and then click on Blank Presentation. There we go. Now we open the new blank presentation. Ignore all these things. We need now to delete these boxes. Then we go to, I believe it was Design, and we select black so that we can have a fully black thing. Now we can start editing the hub since we've got the background covered. We now go to Insert. We're gonna need shapes. No, sorry, I meant shapes. We're gonna get a rectangle, and we're gonna make it go. Now guys, I don't fully know what I'm doing. I'm still improvising with these mechanics. It's gonna go from here to here. Now, what we need to do is remove the fill so that the shape is blank and leave only the outlines. And then we make the outlines white. And this will be our menu box, but as you can notice, it's very thin. However, we can easily fix that, since all we need to do is go to Shape Outline, and then go to Weight, and you don't click on any of these. The optimal one is to click on More Lines, and then the width, you can go here and set it to, delete this one, set it to 5.5. Press Enter, and then close this, and there we go. Now we have the proper battle box, as I like to call it. Now we need to adjust it accordingly so that the monster has space. So we're gonna shrink it a little bit over here to make space for the HUD. And then, in order to give the illusion of an actual Undertale game, we're gonna shrink it from the sides so that it has these borders between itself and the sides. Make sure that the box is as centralized as possible to avoid any confusion. And we have this animation that we can compare it to in case we do something wrong. And I can clearly see that this should be just a tad bit more expanded. Just like so, I believe. And possibly a bit more shrunk, but that doesn't really matter. So, the next thing that you need to do now is to design the buttons. And we can do all this by, I can go to Insert. I'm gonna leave a link to all the resources in the description, so make sure that you download them before watching this tutorial. we go to pictures, this device, and then search for wherever you have saved your pictures. In my case, I have saved them in this folder, Adobe Premiere Pro. I've tried using Premiere Pro to animate, but it's too complicated. We then go to Undertale buttons, and we select everything over here. Don't worry, we're gonna delete the extra ones. We insert all of these, and well, it's made quite a mess, so let's get... Oh yeah, and this will be a reoccurring problem. You need to mark every single image as decorative to remove the unnecessary description. So now we need to delete almost all of the yellow images except for one, and I'm gonna get to that later on, so let me quickly just you can feel free to skip this. Shrink them after you finish deleting them. I mean, after you finish dealing with them. But after that, okay, this is the one where we don't need to delete. This is the one we're keeping. So let me quickly move it to the side. Actually, no, this looks bad. Let me shrink it real fast. After we deal with these things, we're going to scale them to a certain height so that they don't cause problems later on. Because for some reason they'll come as really big in the resources folder. Of course, if you're gonna animate your soul moving across the menu later on, then well, I think you should keep them in case you may need them later on. You can just move them outside of the slide. Okay, so now that we've finished cleaning these up, we can start scaling them. So we take our fight button and put it where it belongs, and then we need to shrink it to an appropriate height common to Undertale, which, if I am to compare it to the one I've made, then it would be around just a tad bit bigger than this. Yes, that's about correct. And now the rest are simple. You just need to fit them with these red lines, which appear just vividly, and offer them space, and they will be at the exact same size. We then move the items button over here, and there we go. Make sure not to leave some space, but not too much space, so that you can be sure that it looks as much as the actual Undertale as possible. I'm not sure if this is perfect or not, but if I'm to compare it to the one I did, then I think it's good enough. Now, this thing, why did I want to keep it? Well, it's because in any Undertale battle, your soul starts on the fight button. So you're gonna need this. So we move this thing over here so that the corners are on top one another, and then we simply shrink it. And there we go, it fits perfectly, and it covers the button. Now I think that we'll need to move this just a little bit higher, because now we will need to create the UI over here. See, we're almost done. If you wish, you can add the soul. That's gonna be easy though, so I'm not gonna do it now. So we now go to insert, we go to a text box, and we put it right here. And then we need to adjust it so that it's not too far and not too close to these either. You don't need to change anything here, but you do need to change the text color to white. And then you need to go to fonts, and of course before doing this you need to install the font files that I'll have included. You then go downwards, and we need to find a font called Mark Needs Cullingham, which if they are or Mars Needs Cullingham. There we go. Now we write the name of our protagonist, which in this case is Kara or Chara or whatever the hell you want to call them. You can write any name in here actually, it's just that I prefer to stick with the classic. Make sure not to make it too big though, since in Undertale the character's name is not that big. I think that this much is gonna do, there we go. Now we go a bit further, away from the name, and we write in capitals LV and then select the level. I usually select 19 for reasons. Now, let's compare this to the original animation. The text here is actually size 28, and I think that this box is actually a bit smaller than this one. So we're gonna need to adjust it just a little bit so that we can place this text box right here, and then increase this to size 28. Okay, there we go. We put it a bit upwards. This is just perfect. You can make more space between LV19 and the character name, because now we are gonna deal with the HP bar. Now the HP bar is composed out of 4 images: a yellow rectangle, a red rectangle underneath the yellow one, and the KR and HP symbols. And in order to get these, the rectangles are easy to obtain. You can just create them in PowerPoint, but the other ones I'm gonna link with the resources. So, to make the rectangles, we're gonna go to Insert, Shapes, Rectangles, and we're gonna create them right in the center. Make sure you make them as long as you need them to be, depending on how much HP your character has. Let's compare the lengths. They look about right. I'm gonna keep it this way. I don't plan on this being perfect. I just plan on giving an overview. You can adjust it later on, since I didn't get it on my first try either. So we're gonna change this to red, and you can either choose no outline or a red outline. I prefer a red outline, to make it more bold, that is. And then we're gonna go to Insert again, or in fact even simpler, we can go to Copy. We can copy this rectangle and then paste it using the destination theme, and then we click on it and we go to Shape Format, of course, and we change the color to yellow and the outline to yellow, and then simply place them on one on top of the other. There we have it. Now on either side we need to place the HP and KR. Now to do that, you're gonna need an image from the resources. We go to Pictures. You're gonna need the same image twice. You can't have only one image. So we go to this device. We head back into here. We scroll and then we find HP and KR display. We're gonna need this image twice. You're gonna be presented with this thing with Sans' battle. In fact, you can actually use this to inspire yourself in making your battle HUD if you really want to. So, in order to get the HP symbol, we just need to crop this image sufficiently so that only the HP mark appears inside. And then we crop it from this corner and then from this corner, making sure that we catch everything in a sense, and then you just need to click outside, like right here. And there you go, you now have your HP symbol, which you can place right here on the side. Looks pretty promising. Make sure to centralize the yellow rectangle and the red rectangle beneath it. Actually, it would probably be better to centralize the red one first, since it lies underneath. Now, the reason why it lies underneath is because when your HP drains in Undertale, although you might already know this, there's a red mark where it used to be. It's actually almost in like any video game now that I'm thinking. There I go, rambling again. So, now that you have the HP symbol, you don't necessarily need to put a KR symbol, but if you really want to, you can go to Insert, and you put the exact same picture as last time, but this time you crop it so that it only displays the KR symbol, although I'm already sure that you knew that based on where I was going with it. In any case, we'll crop it sufficiently so that the KR symbol fits inside. Click outside of the box. There you go. Your KR symbol is ready to be placed right here on the side, together with the HP symbol. Now, I think that the KR symbol needs to be just a little bit bigger, but not by a lot. And we need to adjust it so that it's as centralized as possible. And I suppose that this will do. You guys can fix it later on. I'm just offering a base, because I just want to repeat myself that I did not do this layout perfectly on my first try. It took numerous attempts. And right now I'm just giving you the great base. You can change it however you like. So now we are gonna need the HP number. That's actually really easy to do. Just go to Insert, then you go to Text Box. You make a text box right around here, about this big. Centralize it. Don't put it right next to the KR symbol, just for the Undertale illusion. We change the text to white. And then we go once again back to Mars needs culling gum. And then we write 92 out of 92. Make sure to leave a space between the slash. And then you have to increase it to size 28 as well, since size 28 does the best over here. So we go here, we put it all the way up to size 28, and extend the box however it may be necessary. And then we put it just like so, centralize it, and there we go. Now, the monster is gonna fit in here, and this is usually the best amount since any monster can fit in here, but I'm gonna use Papyrus as an example since, well, he's been starring in a lot of my videos. Now, I know that I've been making a mistake in my Undertale test videos, because I made Papyrus's body too large in comparison to his head, simply because I had forgotten his actual dimensions in game, but I got that fixed later on. Let's now add the soul. That's also a simple bit. We go to insert pictures, and there's literally a picture named soul over here. You don't need to crop it, you don't need to do anything to it, apart from marking it as decorative. You then need to shrink it sufficiently so that it reaches its actual Undertale size, which I reckon is either this big or even smaller, but this is gonna do. There we go. The text engine, I'm not gonna bother to do it. It takes way too long, and I think I've already consumed enough of your time. Now, to add the monster, you don't have to watch this bit, but if you're to add usually all monsters just have one sprite, but Papyrus is an exception since he has two sprites. So, wherever you might have saved them, and yes, I'm gonna include this in my resources folder. I think that I saved this in my video elements folder. Wherever that may be, because I forgot. There it is. There they are. These are the two Papyrus sprites that we're gonna need. Just select them both and insert them. And of course they're pretty small. We'll deal with that right now. Now compared to his head, Papyrus's torso or body does not have an outline. That of course is not a problem, although you will not want to have a monster that has all this purple around him. So, in order to fix that, we're gonna apply a few corrections. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just improvising. You can change this however you want later on, since that's exactly what I did. So we're gonna go to color, and we need to make it black and white, or light gray text color too. And now we need to, you just need to play around a bit with the artistic effects and all that. You could make it black and white like this. You now just need to increase the saturation, which, if I am correct, it should be around here in artistry effects, I believe. No, it's not in here. I swear there was a way to increase saturation so that all the pixels are displayed. But in the case this happens, you just need to keep playing around with the effects, so that you of course get it right how it should be. There we go. You need to so in the color section, you just set it over here to black and white 75%, and then over here in brightness and contrast, you set it to brightness 0%, contrast minus 40%. Now I know that the actual Papyrus sprite is more, how do I say it, less bold, not more, less. Because this one looks a bit bold, but in PowerPoint this is really the best bet you're going for. Now shrink it a little bit, but not a lot, and place him right here in the center. Now as for the head will be much simpler. Make it an appropriate size. This is not an appropriate size because it's too big, but I reckon that this size should work. You can of course change it later on. So unlike the body, this one will be much easier to work with since you can just use the remove background option. Now, you might be asking me, why didn't I do this on the body? Well, it's because it complicates itself with all the curves and the textures. The head is much simpler since it's really only one thing. So mark in green all the areas that need to be part of the head, and mark in red all the purple areas that you're not gonna need. And yes, I know that everything around here is purple, but you can just ignore it. Get rid of these little smudges by clicking on them with the red one. Make sure not to delete too much of the original head, which I actually did. Let me just quickly draw back his beard. Of course, as you draw, some things might involuntarily change. That is okay, you can just put them back later on. Make sure not to exaggerate the pens, because you can easily make a mistake, which will frustrate you even more. Okay, this looks acceptable. I could add a bit more correction over here, but that's not gonna be such a good idea because everything was okay already. So we're gonna fix this area. And I drew in excess again. See, guys, it's frustrating to remove the backgrounds, especially when it's in these little areas. So let's draw this back in, only to remove it again because more purple has appeared. For the love of God, I might just cut this out. Okay, we got this fixed. Wait a second, there we go. Now, please give me a moment. And there we go. This should do the job. Now we click keep changes. It's not perfect. You might need to do this several times. Of course, the image is now saved the way I left it. So you can just keep on returning and adding adjustments as you please. Let me quickly just remove this smudge over here. You're gonna get very frustrated over this, I'm telling you. You need a lot of patience for this, and unfortunately I'm not the type of person who has a lot of patience. There's all these purple pixels. I have no clue how I succeeded in removing them on this one. I mean, I didn't fully succeed. There's still a few smudges, but they're barely visible. This one, on the other hand, is giving me a pain. Click a few times over here to remove these, which will for some reason remove parts of his chin. But that's okay because they weren't actually parts of his chin. See, at the moment I try to draw back his pixels, they just keep on returning. You know what? There's black all around. Nobody will notice. Now you just need to shrink the head. And you place it atop the neck as centralized as possible, which in this case should mean about here. Let's quickly lower him. Shrink the head just a tad bit more. And this image needs a bit more cropping. You might need to crop it sometimes in order for you to be able to adjust it much easier. There we go. Crop it around the boots. Click outside. That's great. Just like the Great Papyrus. Now we move the head into its area. It should be a bit larger so that it actually has a spot to fit in. Now I know that this isn't perfect, but it's the best that we have gotten for the moment. And yes, I'm aware that I haven't removed the background completely on this image. You're gonna have to do this yourself because I've lost my patience fully with this thing. And there you go. You've now obtained a basic layout for your Undertale animations. If you're to compare these two, it doesn't look the two don't look too similar. There's still some issues with this one, but I never really intended to make it perfect in the first place. So now guys, I hope that you found this tutorial helpful, and sorry for some interruptions. Now, if you want more tutorials, like and subscribe, and remember, you don't have to keep it like this. You can change it as you please. And remember guys, to save your project, save the presentation as you work, because trust me, you don't want to lose these things. But yeah guys, this is literally all I had to say. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share with a friend, all that, and yeah, bye.